right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Be Smart Beehooligans podcast. We're doing it again, one ear into the other. We're having a little more fun. We're getting a little more relaxed. Everybody's here today. We got everybody involved, and we finally got our special guest. We've been waiting for this cat for I don't know how long. Been forever, man. Been like since January. But we're going to start off with it as we usually do. We're going to go way down south, down to Louisiana. And we got our buddy Shawi and your little furry friend.
This is Shawi and Mini-Me.
Mini-him.
Good morning, everybody.
You must have fed her already because she ain't chewing on you yet.
Yo, she's chewing.
Oh, wait, there we go.
She's in a playful mood.
There we go. We also got Shay P. the B-Man.
Hello.
There you are.
How y'all all?
You're in the middle of one place to another again, am I right?
Yeah, I'm on the road right now. Just looked out a boarded up window that's got bees behind it, and now I'm going to go look at something else.
Sweet. Kick over a little bit to the east side, down Alabama. Alabama?
Yes, in Alabama.
Well, that's what I'm calling you now. Alabama, might as well. This is Yappy. Yappy, the Yappy.
Yeah.
Yappy,
Alabama don't even Alabama stuff. They don't claim.
Yappabama.
Yeah, you can't claim it. Like, hey, listen, I've got a very serious question. So after we get everybody introduced, I've got a question, and I need answers. So keep going. Let's just pass on. Yappy's here. Okay, next person.
Down in Bellevue, Nebraska, we have the newbie of the year, Anthony G. Got his bees last week. Anthony, how you feeling? Got them bees going?
Feeling fine.
What the heck are you doing?
Me?
Somebody's got a racket going on. I thought it was you.
No, that was somebody just in their camera looking all purdy, I think, but I don't know. Now, see, that's my dog. Rocker's in the house a little bit.
You calling me out?
Oh.
If the shoe fits.
Dang. And last but not least is finally our special guest over there in Colorado is Mr. Guy Shingleton, the inventor and distributor and awesome bee removal guy with the Colorado Bee Vac. How you doing there, Guy?
Very good, very good. Hey, I've run into a few of those critters in the chimneys, but they're not as nice as the one you've got.
Well, you got to get them real small.
Yeah, the ones that came after me were not happy.
Yeah, no, indeed not.
He's got to watch it. That's why he keeps her with him so often, because he doesn't want her running out to the bee yard by herself. She's going to be bothering the little bees.
She loves honey. She eats honey more than JP.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, she'll chew the comb up and everything.
I don't believe that.
Okay, I'm going to video it next time.
I don't believe anything eats more honey than JP. JP is like a walking, talking Pooh Bear. Maybe furrier.
I like my honey.
Okay, Pooh Bear.
Oh. So,
Andy,
we got everybody introduced. Yep, come on now. Where you at?
I'm right here. I'm hanging. I'm just waiting.
Well, we got him introduced. You said you had a hot question. Let's go.
All right, listen. I'm being serious. I'm being dead serious.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Listen, this morning I get up to a racket and I'm looking around out in the yard. I can't figure out what in the world has happened. About an hour later, I'm getting ready to go to the store and I pull out of my driveway and laying in the middle of the road's a dead chicken. My chicken is dead. And I want to understand why did the chicken cross the road? Because now it's dead.
See, this is why we can't have nice things.
Why? Dude, my chicken's dead. You want me to go take a picture of it and put it on the? How
did it die? What was the cause?
It got run over. It got run over by a car.
Okay. Look. Take a picture of your dead chicken. We want to make sure there was no foul play. Like we wouldn't want the chicken to have been strangled. I'm sorry. I'm on one.
He's got chicken choking jokes going already.
Andy's getting his barbecue going.
Like, be nice. But I'm serious. I'm in a state of mourning right now because my chicken dead.
What kind of chicken was it?
It was a buff or like a big gold chicken. Tell you what, no, it's a little bit bigger. This is more like a baker. A barbecuer. Oh, we could barbecue it. Now we know how to barbecue.
Well, hey, speaking of which, Yappy, I'm proud of you because I saw online recently you finally renounced your ways, your ramen noodle ways, and have embraced the way of the meat, beef.
I don't believe that.
Well, I'm telling you, I turned around and oh yes, I have. No, it wasn't the beef. It was we ended up with. I put one of the pigs I got out back from the freezer, and when I had it butchered, they turned around and asked, they said, "Now, do you want thin cut or you want thick cut?" And I went, "Now, I've had your thin cut before. Go ahead and cut them a little bit thicker." She cut my pork chops like 1.5 inches thick. Well, this thing was bigger than a bone steak. It was the size of my plate. There was no room for anything else on the plate. And I'm telling you, as big as this stinking pork chop was, there wasn't room in my stomach for anything else. It was so darn thick, and it was good.
Guy, I'm telling you, man, you can't understand this discussion until you've heard Yappy go on about ramen noodles and hear the conversation that he's had with Shawi and JP, where he's flat out refused fresh seafood, he's refused fresh beef, he's refused everything just to have ramen noodles. And now he gets online and comes out all in favor of apparently pork chops over ramen noodles. It's like it's a whole life-changing episode here right on the podcast.
Yeah, I believe that's fake news. I think he just set that up. I never saw him eat it or anything.
Nice.
You know? Nah, if he has a video of him eating it, that's a different story.
There
a picture of a big old pork chop, nah.
Pictures or it didn't happen. That's it.
That's it.
Well, that's what. Oh, come on now. The picture was there. It happened.
I just saw a picture of a big old pork chop.
All right, then.
I didn't
maybe
see you put it
on
in
the
your
next
mouth.
go round. Hey, listen, that's fine. All right, I'll make sure that I post it on Shawi's Facebook group, JP's, mine. I will put it on the Be Smart Pod Facebook page, and I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel. Everybody's going to see the video of me eating the pork chop.
All right,
that's what I want to see.
That's what counts.
Washington.
Guy, aren't you glad you're here?
I'm telling you, this is more like the Food Network than it is B-Talk.
Hey, Yappy, if you really want to be a true friend, you invite me over and I'll sit and eat the other one with you.
Oh, hey now. Well, this might be an option. This might be an option. I'm telling you.
We got to get video of Shawi in Alabama. That is going to be something. I don't know if Alabama's ready for that.
No, I don't. Yeah, I was say we don't have enough alligators to keep them happy up here.
Now we have trying to get back on track because we have veered off a little bit. We have a guy who created a special custom Bee Vac, and most, if not all of us here, happen to make a little bit of money, if not a full-time living at doing live bee removals, and that's kind of why we invited Mr. Guy here. So, Guy, I want to start actually not with you. I want to start with JP. Because JP is the one who really came out to the world and was telling everybody who would listen about this fantastic Bee Vac from Guy Shingleton online. So JP, tell me where how did you get started into promoting without even him knowing or really thinking about you were going to come out and tell the world about his Colorado Bee Vac?
Well, Guy called me. I can't recall how long ago it was. Guy, what was it? About 4 years ago, maybe.
Probably 5.
5? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
a long time ago.
This is my story. This is my version. So, Guy calls me and he says, "Hey," he says, "I'm in Colorado and I do some of what you do." He says, "I've come across your videos." He says, "Man, you do a lot of bee removals, huh?" I said, "Yeah, a good bit." He says, thinking about putting out a commercial Bee Vac, and I like your input. So I said, no problem. So we talked about some ideas, and I threw some ideas at him, but Guy had some ideas as well. And he sent me some prototypes, and I think you sent me 6 of them, Guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, I like to say that he and I collaborated, and I know you collaborated with some other folks too, I believe. And finally, we got it to the point where it's an awesome setup. I mean, very user-friendly and very bee-friendly. In fact, a couple of friends of mine, Shawi being one of them, Yappy another, once you see this thing in action, it's like you got to have one. So that was the case in point with Shawi for sure. We'd done some removals together, and he had another design, and he just, after we did a couple of different movies, I was like, man, I got to have one. So that's all Shawi pretty much uses these days.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's just a great system, particularly for someone like myself who does lots and lots of removals. So I can't say enough about it, but
that's
just
a
makes life
pretty strong sentiment about that. Now we get to go to Guy and we get to his side of this and find out what drove you to the point where you felt you wanted to make a new Bee Vac, because there's already been a few out there for a while now, custom homemade designs, plus you got the other commercial. So what made Guy decide he needed to make another type of Bee Vac?
That's basically what happened when I got into doing removals, and I actually learned how to do removals watching JP's videos. And I saw a few vacuums that I copied and that sort of thing, and wasn't really happy with how they were operating, and I always thought there's got to be easier, simple way. But as JP just said, that I killed a lot of bees trying to come up with a better vacuum design, and it was basically building a vacuum, sending it to JP, and asking him, okay, does this work? What else do you want? What would you like to see? And it took a couple grand, and like JP, 5, 6, 7, 8 designs, and even this final design took some fine tuning, but we've got it now down to where fortunately I'm selling a bunch of them to people, and I like to brag that I've sold over 500 of them now and haven't had one returned yet. So the people who like them seem to really like them. In fact, the funny thing, I kind of a feather in the cap, I just shipped one a couple of weeks ago to the, now I can't think of it, Florida, not Disney World, but the other
Epcot
theme park. That apparently they have their own control people, and they bought one for the park. So I thought it was pretty fun. But that's basically it. And it seems to be, although I have to give additional credit to JP, because with him, I know a lot of people are starting to imitate putting the bees right back on the hive box at the job, and I've always carried them back to the yard, but myself and some other guys now, we'll just strap them on top of the hive body box and pull the slide and let them go down right at the job.
All right. Who's got the phone farts going on?
That's not me.
Somebody's rattling around out there. Poor guy. He's just trying to talk and tell his story. Andy, you got a question over there? You look like you got something to say.
Yeah, I was wondering, what were some of the things that, or some of the problems you saw with other Bee Vacs? You said there were things you wanted to change. What were some of those problems? Things.
I started out with the bucket, like a lot of people, even a 6-gallon bucket, because I wanted it lightweight and everything. But the bee splat, that I called it, killing the bees, hitting the other side of the bucket, and that was unacceptable to me. And I know I've replaced a lot of the bucket vacuums because of the trying to regulate the vacuum pressure and get them into the bucket without killing them by hitting on the other side of the bucket. And I had a cloth bag, like JP said, it just, instead of a hard box or container, it just collapsed on the bees and killed the bees. And so went through some versions of bee vacuum that just didn't work. And so kind of migrated towards what we finally ended up with just through trial and error.
But Guy, how much of that is the fault of the vacuum and how much of it is the beekeeper? I mean, some of us, speaking for myself, some of us have days where, it's challenging to be smarter than a plastic bucket.
Yeah. Well, and even now, two of the most common problems that kill the bees is too much vacuum pressure, where they just suck them in, bounce them off the backside, and also overheating the bees, leaving the box out in the sun, whether it's in the back of the pickup truck or whatever. They'll drive home with them in the back of the truck, and by the time they get them there, they're dead because they weren't protected from the sun and that sort of thing. So I think a lot of beekeepers have killed a lot of bees through their own errors and that sort of thing. But
now I know I actually use the Owens Bee Vac. I like it. It works out. I've been using it long enough that I've figured out a lot of the things. And then you still always have the little errors because, like screws come loose, the little thing will swing shut. You get the bee, what I call making bee jelly. It happens, but I like the portability of it. I like being able to pull the cages in and out and keep the bees cool that way. I've used yours. Matter of fact, when I was president of the Omaha Bee Club, I bought 2 of them. We liked it so much. There's 2 of them that got used for there. And it's a great, I like it as a vacuum for that purpose. I haven't got my own yet. Eventually I will. I just am so cheap that I don't see buying another one until I don't have this one working anymore. But that's me. But you are a beekeeper as well. You didn't just invent a bee vac. You said, we talked about earlier, you're also a beekeeper. And you do live cutouts and removals. Now, is that your business? Now, what do you do for a living here? I mean,
I'm actually a roofing contractor. In fact, I was just telling you about the hailstorm that hit the Denver metro area again. So I'll be out looking at roofs this afternoon and tomorrow. But and I also have a repair business. Long story short, I sold the roofing company. It ended up coming back to me at 2009 after the recession and everything, and I had started a repair business. And so I actually realized that I had been doing repairs for beekeepers, that they had come in, removed all the bees and just left it. And then the customer called us to put things back, and I had a friend say, hey, you've got property. You should be keeping bees yourself. So 1 hive led to 2 hives, and he made them. How ignorant I was that I had the 2 hives ready to go, and I said, okay, how do I get my bees? And he said, well, you order them, and it was too late to get them. He said, go out and catch them. So that led me to not only do the repairs, but do removals. And I jumped into it, and I found it to be fun as long as it's not a pain in the ass removal. So Right now, I'm running ragged because as a roofing contractor, I'm busy and the repair side is busy, and staying in the garage on weekends and 3-4 hours a night making bee vacuums is a little bit more than I want to do right now.
You a busy fella.
Yeah. So I'm actually just listing my roofing business, and Social Security kicked in this month. Yay!
Yeah.
So
Got
hopefully
it all going on.
Here in a month or two, I'm just going to be doing bees and vacuums and
There you
Social
go.
Security.
The easy life, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least when I have a little bit more control over my time.
I hear you.
'Cause
Well, I tell you what, I hear nothing but good things. I've had good experiences with it. I know a lot of these guys, you know, they live and swear and breathe by it. Yappy, you've got one of these. I see you using one in the video recently.
Oh yeah. I kind of went down and started the road that you did. I come across getting a Owens Bee Vac and kind of learned the hard way on a few of the things that go along with that. But I won't say, you know, I disliked it, but after having one thing and then kind of up what I felt to be an upgrade to the Colorado Vac, in a lot of the problems that I had, I really like the upgrade. I'll just say that way.
Cool.
But I ended up, let's see, it was about 4 years ago. I'd seen where JP was using them, you know, in some of his videos, and then started working and doing different things with JP. And it was kind of funny because we went back and forth at first, where I would swear by the vac that I was using, and he finally one day I turned around and I pulled my vac out of the trailer. We were doing a job together, and he said, he said, let me show you, let me explain. Went through some different things, and there, I could turn around and in my personal feeling, I can't put as many bees in the vac that I was using. With them getting the overheated problem, if you have to shut your vac off, then you've got to take the canister out that you're housing your bees. And I really, honestly, guys, I'm not trying to bash somebody's design, because I think there's a lot of great uses, you know, for other vacs. I'm just kind of talking about my experience. But you shut the vacuum off. One of the major things if you've got a couple of pounds of bees in a canister, they will overheat quick. I mean, I would never recommend shutting the vac off for more than 30 seconds if you're utilizing any vacuum whatsoever. But you know, you've got to turn around and you got to pull the hose out. You got to hope that your bees aren't getting caught in the trap door that as it swings back up. For those that understand how that system works, you can end up clogging the door that locks them in and getting up under there. So I'm having to put my finger in there and push bees out of the way, unscrew the lid, pull the canister out, and then, you know, set it off to the side. You know, just all kind of different problems. With the Colorado, it was nice because there's times where you got to shut your vac off, and you're working, you're doing things. And I love the way that with the Colorado, all I had to do is, you know, you close the gate valve where the bees are coming in at, that the hose attaches to, and you shut it off. And then as soon as the suction, you know, 10, 15 seconds into it, you know, you lift up the lid, you set it down to the side, and now your bees can still stay constantly ventilated. You know, you get back to work, you set it back up on top, you turn it on, open up the gate, back to vacuuming bees. A lot more convenience there. So I did like that. But the fact that I can hold as much in one Colorado catch box is what I was holding in two of the other vac, you know, canisters, was great. So I turned around when I got my set up, and I talked to Guy. I turned around and I said, I'm ready to take the plunge. I said, I'm there. JP's convinced me. And we had a long talk about it. Ended up, I ordered two catch boxes. And if you're, you know, for anybody that's doing bee removals and you're doing, a couple of them a week, I just don't see anything else out there to go with. I see a lot of the, people always talking about their homemade setups, and you could pretty much build a rocket ship and go to space if you want to off YouTube videos. But I see a lot of these people that are turning around. They've got their makeshift, kind of like one of the other vacs, where you've got as you frame up your comb, you put it in the box, you set it down there, you put your vacuum box thing on top of it. It's all strapped down, and I don't understand why they want to make their job harder. If you're going to go spend 5 or 6 hours doing a bee removal and you have all this equipment that you have to lug around, why would you want to have to make it harder on yourself? When in this setup, from start to finish, it was designed to make it easier for a bee remover. From the safety standpoint of bees, to how it's used, to how it helps you. And then at the end of the day, when you're done, you turn around and you take your box, you set it right up on top of the hive that you've reframed your comb, and you just slide out the little bottom tray that holds the bees in there, and you let your bees migrate down back onto the comb. Next day you take it off, and you're back to utilizing your box whatever you want to. The overall design, I think, is the best part about the product.
Hold on, Shelby's got a wrestling match going on. That's what we're hearing. Shelby's wrestling the phone or the raccoon or something. I don't know.
He climbed up my tripod.
You folks wouldn't believe it unless you could see this stuff. I'm telling you.
Hey, are you blushing, Guy? Yappy seems to really, really like it. I'd be blushing if I was you.
Well, I like to put my little 2 cents in here. I used your Bee Vac yesterday on about a 5 pound form. I had a homemade one, and I carried it around with JP and stuff. And after a while, when I got to see what JP had and stuff like that, I told him, I said, I need to get one, and I got one and love it. Like Yappy said, that if you just fool with a few beehives a week, or even 3 or 4 a month or whatever, it's worth to have one, because it's so convenient. And then I had one. I didn't know what the suction was, how long the hose. But Guy, I can confirm this. I had a 40-foot. I had a 30-foot pool hose, and I taped another 10-foot to it, and 40-foot, and I had no problem of them getting the bees.
Yeah.
So the suction was great on that thing with 40-foot of hose. I was 38 foot on a ladder with it, and it sucked up that big old swarm with no problem. But it's a great design. I'm glad I have one.
Super.
For a minute there, it almost sounded like he said your vacuum sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. It does. I still had to regulate it with a 40-foot hose on. I still had to regulate it.
Yeah, because even with it's got a 1.75 horse, but that's plenty. It's overkill for bees. I don't know how these guys that have 5-6 horsepower vacuums hooked up to their boxes than that. I don't know how they do that and not kill them, because you just don't need that much vacuum pressure at all.
That's because they're running 200-foot long hoses. They got to be
something. I don't know. That story reminds me. I've got a customer down off the Florida Keys, and he's sold me another 3-4 vacuums because he's got kind of a one loan rule that he'll loan his vacuum out once or twice to a friend, but after that they have to buy their own.
Yeah.
So
he's nicer than I am. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, he's been good. He's sold a few vacuums for me.
Yeah, I have a friend like that. He has stuff and you borrow it. You allow 3 times. And if you borrow it more than 3 times, you have to buy one because you know. And I bought a gun safe and I borrowed this dollar that you hook to the bottom of it. And I used it. I borrowed it. They didn't have it. I brought it back. I borrowed it again. It didn't come in like they were supposed to. So I borrowed it the 3rd time to get it and never used it. But I can't borrow it no more because I already had it 3 times.
So you should use your 3 wishes up more wisely.
Well, it wasn't my fault. It was the store's fault.
Well, I got some questions. We got some people who popped in from the Be Smart Facebook group, and they have some questions they want us as a group to address. So I'm going to ask the bunch of us here chime in on some of these things and see what we can do for these folks. Let's see here. We got a question from Bradley Hopper. Bradley's got a bunch of questions on here. Bradley wants to know, we'll take some of the less hardcore questions first. JP, this one's for you. He wants to know, what does JP look like without a beard?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Is the answer to that the Walmart smiley face? Because I know without a beard and mustache, that's what I look like.
No, but let me tell you something. JP, God love him. He's got a picture of on his wall when him and Liz got married, and I'm telling you, you talk about the baby face. The Cajun Santa Claus without a beard, it definitely got one. So, Bradley, I'm telling you, if you're having a little man crush going with JP right now, when he ain't got his beard, he's still, rumor is because I ain't saying either way, but rumor is he's actually a pretty little guy. So, we'll just leave it at that.
Well, he follows that question up about JP, and he wants to know, why is Yappy so ugly?
Oh, yeah, I was just born this way, but you know what? At least I can dye it.
It comes natural?
Yeah, I was born this way. So
now on the serious question, we've got a fella named Eric Darm wants to ask everybody, hey, maybe we can definitely get Guy in on this one. He says he's got a lot of questions about feeding. He wants to know about how you go about feeding colonies, the when, how, why, that kind of thing, new colonies versus old colonies. Do you feed, when you feed, that kind of stuff. Being spring and all that, a lot of people get new packages and colonies. I know I've been getting a lot of questions about people wanting to know about feeding and how and how much and all that. So God, let's kick it to you. What do you think about feeding colonies? How do you go about it? Do you give advice on that?
I use forms and that new. I'll put in a frame feeder to start with. And after they empty that, because more often just to encourage the swarms and packages to stay put, because it's always interesting how many more swarms that are out there when the packages are delivered all over town. That it's I think a lot of the packages are just taking off, but. So I'll go from a frame feeder to a top feeder for a little while, but it just depends on we're semi-arid climate here, so flowers and trees and that might be hit. We just got hit by a late frost that knocked everything out. So I also use a dry feeder. Pollen substitute and that from Man Lake that I have close to my bee yard, just so that the bees have somewhere to go if the flowers are knocked out. But you guys down south, I mean, you got bushes, trees, flowers everywhere.
Who is all that? Again, is that you again, shall we?
No, sir.
You guys just beating up on that phone, ain't you, man?
I'm not touching nothing.
Okay, well, Yappy, JP, anybody else want to jump in? How about feeding? What do you guys do?
I feed. Okay. Go ahead, Yappy.
I'm sorry. No, hey, Xiaoyi's got a bigger operation going than what I do, so I'm definitely going to step back for just a second and wait to see what this is going to sound like.
Oh, hey, no, I feed mine honey. When I get swarms and stuff, I drop a frame of honey in it. Just about everything. I use sugar water, very little, because I keep a lot of my fall honey for the bees. And when they need it, I give it to them. Just drop a frame or two in it and go about your business.
There you go.
Well, there's a lot of debate across the boards in regards to feeding, and I mean we can talk about feeding for 3 podcasts in a row, and we'll still probably never come to the determination of what's best. It all depends on what your situation is. B, it depends on time of the year. C, understand before you turn. If you really want to understand when to feed your bees, then start learning bee nutrition. All right, because you can feed all the sugar water you want to your bees, and all you're doing is you're turning around and putting a liquid on there that is like somebody just giving you nothing but Coca-Colas to live on. If you don't understand bee nutrition, then you don't understand how to feed bees as well as what they need. So at any point in time, this is my simple answer. Go learn what bee nutrition needs are, and then you'll understand what to look for in your hive to see whether or not they have those things, and then you can understand what to add to them to give them that need. Because just, we talk about giving a frame of honey, on a swarm or something, that's quick, help them out, sugar water / honey that they can utilize in that moment. It'll help them build comb. It'll help them get through so they can get their butts out there and collect pollen. But if you don't have pollen coming in behind it, then you are seriously under nutritionalizing your bees, and you can put 100-gallon honey sitting on a hive and they can't use it because they don't have the proteins. So go learn bee nutrition, and that will answer your question in my book.
I think we have a new word. Yeah. I have never heard under nutritionalizing. You made that up, didn't you?
With thinking about that, I literally put my bees in Thursday. They came with, I got nukes. They came with approximately 2 frames of honey. And I was, I got everything, got them all set up. What should my guidelines be as far as when do I want to help them out with sugar water? And if you're just putting in a nuke or a packet.
Yeah.
If you're just setting it up, then the sugar water that would be added to them is going to end up helping them more so to draw comb and start building a home. But if you don't have any pollen happening, any blooms going on in your area, then I would come back and say you better have some pollen patties on there. But that is a locational problem in itself. If you put pollen patties, on in Florida, you're going to have every hive beetle in a mile, so you'll have another adjustment to make. But where you're at, if you've got flow going on and they're bringing in, they start bringing in pollen, then they're definitely getting some of that help. But throwing a pollen patty on top of one of them ain't going to hurt.
So you can almost do that prophylactically, whether because I don't know about pollen flows or any of that stuff yet. So just to be safe, I can go ahead and follow it up with pollen patties.
I would put small squares on there and see if they start eating off of that. But if you want to understand, all you got to do is just turn around and after, you've got them for a week now, go out there. You've had bees that have orientated, so go out to your hive and look and see if they're bringing in pollen on their legs. If they're bringing pollen in, then there you go. You've got you've got flowers blooming, you should see on the side of the road and everything else. So you can notice what is out there as well as what they're bringing back by what if they're bringing pollen in on their legs.
Yeah, gives me another excuse to go out and play in the country.
There you go.
Yep.
On that, and part of the area that we're in and subject to frost late in the spring and early in the winter or autumn, that's why I keep 2 of the feeders available, one with protein and one with substitute pollen from Man Lake. But what's interesting is that they hit them really hard in the spring, early spring, and they hit them really hard in the fall. But other than that, the bees basically ignore them. So they know when they need what they need out of those 2 feeders. But if the flowers are available in that, they'll ignore the feeders and just go where they go.
So, I'm of a combined thing. Definitely, Yappy, I think, has got the point of you have to learn bee nutrition. You got to know what they need, why they need it, when they need it. Pollen, honey, sugar syrup, what do those things accomplish at what times of the year? What are they trying to do? In the spring buildup, they're trying to draw a comb. They're trying to feed brood, which is the pollen. They need the fats, the amino acids. They need the protein out of the pollen. So if you're not getting enough pollen coming in as they're building that brood, you got to consider a pollen and fats, amino acids kind of source of the protein patties. Although I'm not big into the soy kind of flour patties or whatever. I'm not big into those. If you get full pollen if possible. But if you're going to use that, if you don't have it coming in already, I'm with Xiaowei. I prefer to use honey because at least I believe on a micro environmental level, honey has more nutritional value for bees than sugar water ever can or will, in regards to sustaining the adult foragers, and because they live almost entirely on honey anyway. They don't eat nearly the pollen, if at all, past a certain age. And so the honey is really what's going to serve them best so that they can keep out going on, like he said, bringing the pollen in. So I like to feed frames of honey as much as I can as food. The only time I introduce sugar syrup is specifically for the purpose of emergency feeding that I don't have honey for, or I need them to build wax. I need them to build comb right away. The sooner, and that because it sort of resembles nectar, that thin 1-to-1 sugar syrup, that helps to get them really boosted in building the comb. So if you got like a cutout or a swarm capture and they maybe a dry capture where they've been out for a while and they've gone through what they ate already, they don't have enough to start drawing comb out. You feed them the sugar syrup. That'll help them because they got to have the wax comb to start filling it up and storing nectar and pollen and all of that. So they've got to have something to start with. But again, it's all timing. It's about the purpose of what they're using it for. So, everybody's got a piece of that, and I don't think that they were leaving anything out. They were just focusing on one over another. But that's the way I look at it is I prefer for nutrition, give them the honey. For the brood, you're trying to build up that brood, especially early in the spring. You got to have the pollen, and then sugar syrup. I personally tend to use sugar syrup for captured, like cutouts, trap outs, things where they're more in dire need of emergency food right now, in the middle of a dearth perhaps, and I don't have that much honey. That's when I would use more sugar syrup than anything, or if I really got to have them building comb right away because they're needing a place to move it. Especially like that cutout you and I did recently, all that nasty black funky comb that was in there. We couldn't keep any of that. That was just it was unusable. It was nasty. We're going to put them all on blank frames and, let them draw brand new fresh wax. I put a feeder on them to get them started drawing new wax as soon as possible, so that they could get them kicked off the right way.
Hey, where'd you take those bees?
I have them in a secret special apiary where I can keep a very, very, very close eye.
Your secret special spot.
You know where it's at. Right next neighbors to Lucy.
I hear you.
They'll get moved down to the teaching apiary in Council Bluffs eventually, but I want to baby.
Yeah, I figured that. I was trying to lead you that way to give Ted a shout out.
Well, B&B Farms, they're getting their game started up, so we're hopefully going to get that all kicked off in the area. So, gotta love B&B Farms for being a sponsor of the Be Smart podcast.
Absolutely.
Had to get that little plug in there. Hey. So there's that questions. Anybody got anything else to add on that? Because I got another question that's less than the serious side. And that was Shawi, rather. This one's for you, buddy.
Go ahead.
And we're back to Bradley again. Bradley was really involved today with the questions. He asked, how many milkshakes does Bruce or Shawi eat every year? Do you keep an annual count on your shake intake?
Well, I can tell you this much. This year, I had 0. I'm on a diet right now.
Right now, like in the last couple of days, or like?
No, since I had my surgery.
No shakes at all?
No, none yet.
Wow.
Not one. Well, I take that back. I had one in the hospital. I forgot about that.
That's what I was saying. I thought I remembered seeing a post where you had one.
I was making fun of it too because it was so small. But in my milkshake days, 5 a week. And how many weeks they got in the year? 52. Do the math.
Dude, 250 plus shakes a year? Piker, you can do better than that.
That was my lunch. That was my lunch. I shake every day for lunch. And it showed too, because I put on a few pounds doing that.
No.
but I would say average probably anywhere from 50 to 75 a year.
Everybody needs
and then
a goal.
after,
I said everybody has to have a goal,
Yeah, that's it, So
I want to know. I'm going to take this back to Bradley. I think we need to ask Bradley now that he's going to know how many you've had at your prime, your peak. Is he going to try it out to you? Is that going to be his new goal? Is to outshake, shall we?
Get ready to put on some weight if he tries.
Ooh, man. Be a happy little round beekeeper there.
And you got to remember too, these shakes were the extra large, the huge ones.
I've never seen shakes that big. Sonic, I think, has them about that big, and even then, I'm not sure. You guys are serious about your shakes down there.
When Bud was still in Macon, Mississippi, they got a Blimpies, and I went out there and told them, and they had a shake, so they made the Shawi shake, a big one, just like the one I used to get. And I usually get one.
2-liter bottle, man.
Yeah, and I usually get one when I'm at Bud's, and then when I leave Bud's to head back home, I swing back. I go the back way to go. I go 10 miles out my way just to get one for the drive home.
Mama. And it was always vanilla.
That's it, vanilla.
Now, did you ever get any twists on that? They always got the new flavors now. You got vanilla bean, French vanilla, and just plain old vanilla.
Plain old vanilla.
Man, that's dedication.
Well, let me throw this curveball. All right, Shawi is trying to say that he went on a diet, okay? But actually, if you go back through some posts over the time, the place where he was getting his milkshakes closed down.
And he is known for shutting down places. He came to Omaha and shut down places.
2 of them.
That's
one
right.
burned down, the other one shut down on the day I went there.
Yep. I mean, they literally, this one went out of business. So I don't know if he ended up putting them in the poorhouse from getting one every day or what. I don't know, but shall we remember that as he went on a diet. We remember it as the only place that made a decent shake got shut down by Shall We. So we'll just kind of leave it.
Pretty much.
No, dude, as a fireman, you'll appreciate this. Because he burned down the place here in Omaha.
Yeah.
It was national news, dude. The whole block was on fire that has one little restaurant in it. Huh?
M's Pub?
Yes. That was Shawi.
All I said was, I said, this will make some awesome shake. And then a month later, the place burned down.
And I was at that fire.
There you go. Right there.
And then
Shawi goes in, we give him a dish of honey-flavored ice cream. He says, ooh, this would be a good shake. And he left and boom, the place went up. And
boom, the place burned. And then, look, he take us to this other place, and they got a big sign, last day. They were closing up.
Last day.
Last day. I'm like, I can't believe this. But it was.
They're going to be locking the door when they see you coming.
Oh, they warned me at the airport. They said you bring them boys in again, and that's it. It's the end. I gotta sneak them. I gotta smuggle them through now.
But JP liked his chocolate shake.
Yes, he did. He likes chocolate all the time.
Yeah.
He loves his chocolate.
Yeah.
Don't go there,
Andy. Family show.
You know what? I don't know what your dirty little mind is going. I just said JP likes chocolate. That's you want to go somewhere else with it. That's your problem.
You're not too obvious. See how they are, Guy? See what I got to deal with?
I warned him. I told him before he came on. You may regret this. Of course, you ought to see what we did to Margaret. Poor Margaret from the Kiwi Mana podcast. Good Lord. She's corrupted like anything, man. Gary's had to restrict her from the microphone lately. And she still can't say banana right. We messed her up on that.
Oh, man, you got it wrong. All right. Get right. We got any more good questions to answer here?
Okay, hold on. All right. Let's see here. I do actually have one, although I'm not going to answer that other one yet because that's just timeliness. Okay, here we go. Moving hives. Oh, this shouldn't be too hard. Here you go. Moving hives. Oh my goodness, and that's Bradley again. Dude, were you bored this morning or what? Bradley, come on, dude. He wants to know about moving hives to reorient them. So, like when you got to get a hive going and you got them in your yard, you do a split and you got to move them so that you got to move them. So he wants to know what method do you use? 2 feet, 2 miles, close them up? What do you got a special trick you do to get them to reorient without having to go to some weird, obscene length of trouble?
Well, I'm going to say this. Whoever invented the thought theory process of closing bees up in a beehive for 2 or 3 days to force them to reorientate, if you're still alive and you invented this, please call me because I really, really want to have a conversation with you. In fact, I'd like to do it in person because if you've ever watched the show CSI, you know how Gibbs always pops DeNozo in the back of the head? I really want to turn around and give you a serious DeNozo. Why in the world would anybody have this thought theory of locking bees into a beehive for 3 days? Let me ask you a question. Does it rain for more than 2 hours where you're located? Does it rain for more than a day for where you're located? What makes you honestly think that locking bees in a hive is going to erase their memory from the GPS location of where they're at and actually make them not go back? Oh, now I know somebody's going to turn around and want to comment on this on the Be Smart Facebook page and go, "Oh, I do it all the time. It works for me, and I don't kill bees." Well, here's my problem. Do you know how many bees, how many boxes, how much is going on, the location, the ambient temperatures, the time of the year, and everything else that's factored into this to the person you're telling to lock their bees into their hive for 3 days? You lock bees into a hive for 3 days in the middle of the sun, in the summertime and everything else. That's good for you because you're going to burn up your bees. You're going to kill them. You're going to cause them to vomit. You're going to kill brood. And I'm going to DeNozo you. So don't come at me with locking bees up for 3 days in a beehive to reorientate them.
Yeah,
That's just awful. Okay, I'm good now. I got to
You need to be a little more excitable, dude. We're not getting enough enthusiasm or emotion out of you.
Okay, well let me jump up and down and say, don't lock your bees into a beehive.
So what do you do? We now know what Yappy says don't do. What does Yappy do?
What does Yappy do? Listen, this is really good. Okay, you ready? I got one of those Lazy Susan things that you put on a big table for dinner. I put my beehive on it, and I spin them around 7 times real fast. And then
do you blindfold them first?
No, I tried doing that one time, but I couldn't get my wife to keep making those little blindfolds that you put on them. So, that's where I come up with the Lazy Susan thing. So really, don't lock them in. But spin them.
The problem with that is they're the ones doing the spinning, which means he's the piñata.
Well, that's what I do. I hang the piñata though before I spin them.
You could do that and spin the honey out of the hive at the same time.
That's it.
I mean, I'm telling you, there's better methods than locking them in the house for 3 days.
Now, what do you do, Guy? You got to move them.
I was just asking if anyone uses the branches over their entryway.
I use grass, actually.
Okay, grass or branches, just something that they have to crawl through, and that seems to work.
I don't lock them in for 3 days or whatever. I'll screen them in just if I have to move them so they're not flying around in my van, for the time being. Then I get out there and I'll put some grass in the entrance and make them get through that, and then they'll reorient. It usually takes about a day, if that much, but they're not locked in after the transport. So, what about you, shall we?
I use some of them. I put grass and branches and stuff and make them work to get out of it, stuff like that. But like I'm doing splits and stuff, I put them side by side. And manipulate them by sliding the boxes over a little bit. If one's getting the return, more than the other, I just slide it over however I need it. And then when I do move boxes, I move them to my other bee yard, so it's about 12 miles away. So, but I do that at night. I don't lock them up. That may not
work. Guy said he has proof that doesn't necessarily work. Tell him that story. Tell him, Guy.
Yeah, I was just asking earlier, this 3 to 5 mile radius as far as bees flying back, that I did 2 removals last year where the bees flew back to the house, and one was 12 miles and one was about 15 miles. And I was astounded because it was so far. And, bring them back, put them in my yard and everything, and have the feeder in there. And 2 days later, they were gone, and customers calling me to come vacuum the bees up again. So I took them to a friend's yard that was even further away and didn't have the problem. But I just couldn't believe that they flew back that far.
Yeah, I never had that problem.
Yeah,
but when I move them,
before they were originally coming from.
Well, I don't have a choice. I can only keep so many bees in my backyard behind my house. I got about 50 right now, which is a little too many. In a subdivision. But I move them, bring them to the farm and stuff, which is a straight line is probably 10 miles, but driving a vehicle is probably 15, but if they come back, I don't know.
Yeah.
I never noticed that they did.
Yeah. Next time, like if you try to zigzag, throw a little serpentine in there, I bet that might work. That's what your problem was.
Drive through some trees. Drive through some trees, get them disoriented.
Well, what he did, he forgot to blindfold the bees, so they watched every move.
He didn't spin them first.
I'm going to have to take the turntable out to the bee yard and start giving them a ride before I set them up.
Yeah, see? All right. Well, I just took a look at the clock, guys, and as usual, we're having so doggone much fun that the time is already upon us. So we're going to give our last goodbyes, and we're going to start with Guy first. Guy, you got any parting words, parting shots, anything you want to let the world know, except for whoever it is in our group that's rattling around their phone again?
No, I enjoyed it. It's interesting what you learn listening to these, so it's been fun.
Shall we?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking with you, Guy. I know what you look like now. You know, I still got some hair, but I get mine short. You know.
Did I tell you the first words?
I keep mine short too.
His first words are, "Why does everybody got a beard? What's up with the beard?"
Yeah. I have too many battle scars on top of my head to go bald right now.
Andy, what you got, man?
Man, hey, thanks for giving me another reason to go play with my bees today. You know, this was a blast. Nice talking with you, Guy. Always a pleasure, shall we?
Same here.
Yappy's uncharacteristically quiet for the last few minutes, but
I know.
I'm just still cooling off from locking bees in the box. I can't. Just anyway.
It's either that or he's fantasizing about flying his drone. It's one of the two anymore.
Oh,
you know,
I
better let the bees out of there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm flying my drone over my neighbor's bee yard to see if he locked any of his bees in. But anyway, hey, Guy, thanks for being on the show, man. I tell you what, it was a pleasure talking about your Bee Vac, and it's definitely a pleasure to use it. So, you don't take my word for it. Y'all just go ahead and man up, credit cards out, get a hold of Guy and order you one, and you won't be disappointed, because I kind of thought that was amazing that, all these that you've sold and nobody's returned them. So if you got any problem, just send it to me. I can use a backup. To be honest with you. Not that, but I don't know if I'll ever use it. But anyway, I've had a ball today. Hope you guys did. Thanks for listening to the podcast as always. And I'm going to turn it back over to, let's see. He's talked. I'm looking at their pictures on my video thing. Okay, back to you. Go ahead.
All right. No problem. Everybody, I thank y'all for tuning in once again to the Beehooligans and listening to us do our thing. And next week we'll be back, and we'll have a whole slew of new things to talk to you about and bend your ear with. Until then, don't forget, folks, be smart.